Okay, I'm going to show you how you can set up your groups to be able to reserve through our website, through IQ Webbook. Number one thing to remember for this is that if your hotel sets up group blocks and assigns room numbers ahead of time, then you are unable to let your groups book through Webbook and through the website. It's just something that Roommaster doesn't allow. This is more for group hotels that offer group blocks and hold them off by room type, and then assign like the day of or day before, depending on what's needed. So, number one thing, I'm going to use Kent State as an example. They do a great job with groups. So, I'm going to go into my group blocks, and the example I have down here is this one right here, International Paper. So, I have the group all set up. When you're reserving the group as a group sales coordinator or whoever works with your groups, one thing that often kind of confuses us is the web booking date. This web booking date is when your group can actually start reserving. So this, say they set this up back in July, and say the 1st of July, and they set up the web booking date as the 1st of August. That means that from July 1st through July 31st, that group could not book through the website. It gives you a little time for planning. Maybe you just want to hold off the rooms while you're waiting for a contract to come back, little stuff like that. But sometimes when you can't book, when you're having trouble with a group booking online, it's that the web booking date is not active yet. So always check that to be sure that is active for your group. The next thing is the rate code. So with groups to book online, you need to use group-only rate codes. And I'll show you what I mean. This rate code S109, if I go to Setup and Rate Management, Setup Rate Codes, and then I go to S109 right here, right away I can see it says group only. And in here I can double check under rate usage. It says normal rate, popular or uncommon rate, or groups only. Groups only is the important thing. The reason being is that when it goes to Webbook, if you have it as a normal rate or popular or common rate, it's going to show up in general viewability for all guests trying to reserve. It's not going to be associated with a group. It's not going to be associated with a time period. It's a rate that they'll be able to reserve at any time if it's sending out to the booking engine. So groups only is very important to keep that rate hidden and associated with that group in particular, especially for tracking purposes. Another important portion is it needs to be part of the GDS channel. So the Webbook, we want to make sure Webbook is a channel that's active in here. This one's already set up this way, but otherwise if you didn't have anything in here, you would say add new channel and have IQ Webbook as an option and say select, and then it would show up here, and then you'd say OK. So this group is already set up that way. So it's now all we have to do is make sure that the rate and the group works in Webbook. So if you had just added that rate code for the Webbook, the channel manager, or I'm sorry, the IQ World link. So I'm going to go back in there, set up rate codes, and then I'm going to go to S109 and say I just added Webbook. Sometimes it takes until midnight or overnight for that rate code to get out to Webbook. You can push it through the server through IQ World Link and do a push of inventory and rates, but just in case you didn't want to do that, just know that it may take overnight for it to become active through the normal updates of Roommaster. So now we're going to go into Webbook. I'm going to remember this group code, INP7. In Webbook, I'm already here. I'm already in Kent State. It shows right here. But just remember, whenever you go into Webbook, make sure that right here your hotel is showing. If it doesn't, you just go to Change Sites and select your hotel. So open Kent State. So that I'm in Kent State. Now, one thing I like to do is I always like to go inventory and rates, and I'm checking to make sure that S109 rate is active. So S109 right there, special rate 109, and it's going to also indicate that it's a group only rate. So that's a wonderful thing to show there, and so you're ready for this. Now we're going to test this. So I'm going to go to my site. And under rate options, it says promotional code or group code. This is where the group would do just INP7 and say apply. So once it applies, it's going to say, hey, group code apply, check in, checkout dates adjusted. So it goes to the date your group is assigned for. Shows special rate 109. If you do rate options, it's going to show only that rate, and it's also going to show group code applied and show the name of the group. So it's easy as that. That's all you have to do to make sure that your groups are active in your webbook and they can start booking. When they come through, so say I reserve a room, it's going to come into Room Master and you'll see it in your group. It will be associated with the group. It won't be some reservation that's floating out there that just happen to have a group code. So you'll be able to track it. You'll be able to make sure it's all good to go. I hope that's helpful for you. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Take care.